How about you? What's your point of view on that? What advice would you give these students?
Yeah, so my advice for those students will be kind of the same. In my personal opinion, when I went to high school, I was not really good in the books per se. I was more the type of street smart, kind of more curious, just trying to do things differently, in a way that I was a little bit more not really focused in school, but I had a goal, and my goal was to actually go to a 4-year university. So the advice that I will give kids or youth will be: if you have a goal that you want to go to a 4-year university, and you know that's where you want to go, if you put the
Mhm.
time, the effort, and you actually do your homework and study, and like Jorge said, ask for help, anything's possible. Because when I was in high school, I would have to read twice as more, write twice as more, so I can be at the average of the student that was already average at it. But that shows me that if there's kids right there that they said, hey, I'm not cut for school, or I'm school is not for me, that's a lie. Because they can actually uh, put 3 times more the effort, or 3 times more the time. And obviously they're not going to get straight A's, but C's get degrees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely possible, and I like how you mentioned that you work twice as hard just to be at that average level, right? And so it kind of points out that, we can't expect all to be on the same playing field. We're not all of us are going to be on the same uh, level, but yet we could reach the level that we want if we kind of have that little path that we build for ourselves, and sometimes in sync with what our mentors might tell us. So the teacher tells you to read a certain amount, and you do that, and you ask questions when you struggle, then you kind of will reach that level that you're not at yet, but it's possible, right? So sometimes when we're too much in our heads, we could kind of slip into that mindset where we think it's not possible just because we're not there yet and others are. But if you kind of like get out of your head and just talk to mentors, people who've been through it, it's very helpful.
Yeah, and following up on a point that you touched, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on that. Is that you said you see others that are at that level, and then you said it that to not compare to others. I would
Mm-hmm.
tell kids and youth to focus on their abilities, and to focus on them, because everybody has different abilities, and if they focus their energy and their strengths, and then later on develop their weakness, they will be exceptional students too.
Definitely. Yeah, the beauty of it is that the brain is plastic,
Mhm.
and plastic meaning that it could change and alter. So whatever, like you mentioned, whatever you put your mind to, you could basically achieve. You're basically strengthening your brain, kind of like as if it was a muscle that you're training. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. So I want to switch on to our
Sure.
next section, which is
Mhm.
talking about our community college experiences. So
Mhm.
we also both went to the same community college, so we both kind of know what it's like where we went, but obviously we had different experiences. We studied different things and we're in different programs. So if you could speak a little bit about like what, if you ever had a realization while you're in community college of like how different it was compared to high school, like what made it stand out as being different from high school to you?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that like I explained before, uh,
Mm,
I was already decided to go to university for a 4 year. But
mm,
then I thought about it, and I asked myself, do I really want to become a mechanical engineer? And that was the deciding moment that I decided, you know what? I don't think that's a path that I want to take, because I don't want to be dealing with a lot of math. So, like I mentioned before, focus on your strengths. Something that I always like in the past is talking to students. I mean, talking to people, just talking in front of people, being friendly, creating strong relationships. So then, when I went to community college, I joined this program that is called Puente. And then in Puente, they ask us to choose a major. And then that's where the realization happened to me, that I was given the opportunity to choose what I wanted to study. Not like in high school, that you just are given history, economics, all those things, and then you got to take those general classes. So I was given the opportunity to study something that I like, that I enjoy, or that I can excel at. So based on that, that was the first thing that I realized from community college. The second thing is that teachers don't care if you show up to class or if you don't show up to class. It's you, the person that has to care. And the third thing is that all the kids in my school said it. If you go to community college here in Gilroy and Gavilan, you're going to see the same people that you see in high school. And to be honest, I didn't see almost anybody of my previous high school. Very few, I would say 10, 15% of students. The majority were from Morgan Hill and Hollister, and I make new friends. And that was the third realization that I made with community college. And that actually helped me because since I was a second language learner uh, for English, that kind of helped me to be more prepared for a 4-year institution. So my advice, my recommendations to students is don't undervalue a community college. Use it as a stepping stone. And then that community college gives you the opportunity to choose a major that you like and that you will excel later on. And then me and Jorge, we had um, the same college, the same everything, and we decided different majors because different things are the things that are of interest to us. So going back to you, Jorge, what were some of the things that you realized when you got to CC, which is community college?
Well, I realized that, yeah, you, like you mentioned, there's not as much control from, teachers and stuff there. So I realized that, I had to kind of like put myself together to decide what I wanted to study, for example, the major. And so fortunately in high school, my last year, I kind of thought about my interest in like how people think and stuff. So I thought maybe I need to study psychology, study the brain. And when I got there, that was the plan at first. So I took psychology. I loved it. So I kept going with that. And then I discovered online this thing called cognitive science. So I kind of started prepping myself for that. Yeah. So, I mean, we could talk about that a little bit later. But another thing was basically kind of like what you said, the professors don't expect as much of you. But another thing to add to that is that the professors are always there for you. And so sometimes at bigger universities, professors have so many students that they don't always have the time to interact with every one of them. But the beauty of the community college is that classes are way smaller than at big universities. So you get to know your professors pretty well. They have their office hours. They're not, I mean, at least at our community college, those professors weren't really involved in research. So their sole focus is the students and teaching. So I think at least I really benefited from that. And yeah, also I think seeing that the classes were the percentages of assignments and tests were distributed way differently.
Mhm.
So tests are they have a bigger impact. So you really have to be on it, like to study for those exams because they can make you or break you sometimes. But like I said, the professors are there to help. So that's, yeah. Uh, Now I could go on to discuss a little bit of what did you love about the community college? What was the beauty of it? I know you mentioned some good things, but like if you could think like one or two things that you just thought, oh man, I'm so happy I'm here right now.
So the two beauties or the two things that I learned in community college, or the things that I love from community college, one was that I could be more myself than in high school. There was no that status. Oh, you gotta act this way. You gotta, behave this way because what people are gonna say about you. In community
Mm,
college I was just myself, being friendly, talking to people, just me. And by doing that, I got to have a bunch of friends. So that was one
yeah,
of the
you know, like
things.
the whole school.
Yeah, pretty much, from volleyball players to, yeah, football players. But I think that was the first thing in community college. And the second thing was that the classes were small. The campus was nice, not too big, not too small. and the ratio of students was good. It was just a feeling of, um, how can I put it? It was a feeling that you can get to meet more people without having to go that far. And the thing that you mentioned, and I'm gonna pick on that, is that the professors were there for you, not like compared to a 4 year institutions. You had a class, you show up, it's more hands-on, you learn, and then if you have questions, you can go to their office hours, and then yeah, that would be the thing. And the second thing, the third thing, I would say that it was the puente. That was one of the best things that happened in my life, because that gave me a little more confident, and that allowed me to be a little more guided through community college. But my recommendations to students that are not able to join the puente is that if, even though I was not in puente, I would still have completed community college, because my
Mhm.
goal was to get an education.
Great, yeah, I could definitely see you had that rigor to like really get through that and get as much of the experience as you could.
Yeah. So now, Jorge, going back to you, what would be those two things or three things that you love, and that were so fantastic in community college?
Yeah, one thing that I guess isn't entirely related, but it has relevance to me because I mean, I went to community college in my hometown, so my hometown has a big Mexican population, a big like a lot of bakeries and Mexican food, and I used to love going to this bakery where I could get a tamal and a pan dulce, you know, bread and a tamal for like $2 to $3, and I was like always like proud. I was like cheap lunch, really good quality, and I'd take it to school, and you know, I always remember that being great. Um, Another thing, yeah, the campus was beautiful. It was very peaceful because it was kind of in the hills. We saw ducks, we saw wild turkeys and turtles, all types of things. So that was always kind of grounding, you know, when you're trying to like, you know, when your mind is only on school. And so it's kind of nice to just have that nature kind of settle you down. And I think another thing that, you know, we haven't mentioned yet is the price of community college.
Oh.
It's very affordable compared to other universities, and like when you're getting the same um, education as you would at the first 2 years of a university, I think it's a huge plus on the side of the community college. It's a good price, you know, good professors, a lot of resources. I also enjoyed another similar resource to Wente, which was EOPS, and they had good academic counselors, some scholarships, little scholarships each semester for you to buy like school supplies, which I thought was really helpful. And yeah, they were really supportive, and they helped me a lot too when I was in community college. Helped guide me, and helped kind of like compare and contrast schools when I was applying to transfer. Yeah. Um, so now I want to point out we both transferred very fast to the University of California. And sometimes with community college, some people you know spend a while there for different reasons, right? But I transferred in 2 years. You transferred in 3 years. You know? So congrats to us on that. So how did we do it? That's the question. I mean, you could start off saying how you were able to.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to that question, I think it's an excellent question, because uh, I met some friends there that they had been there for 3, 4, 5 years, and I think that it's a combination of things. A lot of things have to be in place, but I would say that the number one reason why I transfer quickly and fast, 3 years, it's fast compared to some students that are there 4, 5 years, right? But at the same time, it's kind of slow when there's some students that just go there 2 or 2.5 years. But the thing that helped me transfer was that I had a plan in mind, which it was getting an education, transferring, and being able to be the one of them or the first in my family to have a college degree. Uh, I had to make decisions though to be able to transfer in 3 years. The majority of my friends that joined the same year, the same time that we graduated from high school,